Section 2, Subsection 3, Unit 1. Tips and tricks on fundraising and project pitching. By the end of this unit, you will be able to recognize the different purposes of fundraising and of project pitching. Differentiate the preparatory activities towards successful fundraising. And identify the key aspects needed to present your project to investors or project preparation facilities. Throughout this course, we have highlighted the constraints that subnational governments face, both in developing bankable climate projects and in accessing the type of climate finance to implement such projects. Due to these constraints, many local governments rely on external support. Yet, getting such support often requires that project promoters engage in networking, fundraising, and project pitching actions. In particular, fundraising activities imply building relationships with potential investors and focus more on the planning process. Since fundraising is generally considered a skill that could bring more resources to the project, here are some tips. First, define your project idea according to the local context it will be implemented in. Then align your idea with national and global objectives to make your project concept more relevant for that area. Prove that the project concept is solid by clearly laying out its purpose, scale, and goals. If necessary, collect data that underpins and back the proposed intervention, for example, inventories and environmental impact analyses. Don't forget to clearly define your financial needs by calculating a solid budget, identifying the assets available to invest, and the missing amount. Next, secure the commitment of relevant actors by engaging them regularly. This will not only reduce potential oppositions to the project's implementation, it will also give these actors a feel of ownership on the project. Make sure you also prepare a fundraising plan that considers timing, planned activities, best candidates to engage, and the type of finance you are looking for. Finally, choose your communications tool to promote the project. These can be fundraising events or campaigns, printed materials like brochures and flyers, or digital tools like websites and newsletters. Let's now look at the basic elements for a project pitch. As we mentioned in the previous slide, fundraising tends to focus more on the planning process. Instead, project pitching looks at the actions towards acquiring the financial or technical assistance for the project. In other words, this process can open new opportunities for you to receive constructive feedback that can then strengthen your initial idea. Project pitching is also a channel through which you engage potential investors or contributors, as long as you are communicating with them in their own language. This means, for example, that private investors need to hear about the risks and returns of your project and its duration. For a good project pitch, you need to prepare in advance, regardless of where you will present and in which format, like online or in person. Start your preparation by sourcing for ideas and support from technical staff and administrative or legal authorities. Doing so will give you all the information around climatic, socio-economic, and legal aspects of the project. An effective project pitch should last no longer than 10 minutes. You should attract your audience by communicating clearly and effectively, regardless of whether you're looking for financial or technical assistance. First, introduce the issue the project will solve and quickly tie it to the primary solution being offered. This will help your audience understand the general idea of your project and its impacts. Following an engaging introduction, make sure your material is organized in a persuasive manner. For instance, use charts, graphics, and numbers to support your presentation, as opposed to just words. Knowing your audience, their interest and potential engagement with the project, will help you to align and tailor your speech to their profile. For example, the interest indicators of an international bank are not the same as those of a nonprofit foundation. A bank will generally be looking at the cash flows and financial model of your project, as well as its budget breakdown. A foundation could instead be more interested in the social impacts of your proposal. Since pitching opportunities may arise at any time, you should always be ready to pitch your project to a willing audience. In your last message, alongside your financial or technical needs, don't forget to highlight the project's relevance and significance. In other words, prove that there is a real and broad support, market, and need for the project. Even without a match, project pitching enhances your abilities over time and gives you a chance to hear from experts and incorporate their feedback, strengthening the original project proposal. We have seen what a good pitching strategy looks like. Now let's explore what you should include in your pitch. Although different audiences may want slightly different information, your pitch should still describe your project and its needs. The initial overview must mention the project's promoter and its partners, its focus, sector, and location. In case you're presenting a climate project, highlight the climate aspects it covers, namely, climate change mitigation, adaptation, or both. The project background should link current challenges to how your project intends to solve them. Here you can also emphasize potential spillover effects. By defining the current stage of your project, the audience will get an idea of how they could potentially support or engage with it. For instance, some actors and initiatives may only support projects in their initial stages, while others could offer both technical and financial assistance to those in the pre-implementation phase. Here you should mention available studies that help the audience understand the next stages of the preparation cycle. Next, the project rationale describes the actions and predicted environmental and socio-economic impacts. Even if you don't have a solid project timeline, aim to provide a tentative start date and work schedule for its execution or study preparation. Last, financial indicators must show project cost, budget, possible revenues generated, and savings. Specify the sort of help needed or the financial instrument you expect to use, as well as the financial barriers you anticipate. These will strongly depend on the local context. For example, some local governments are not able to directly receive international finance, which can, however, be channeled through a third entity, like a private company. In this slide, you can see some of the financial and technical aspects typically asked for by potential investors and project preparation facility providers. They have been gathered from many project pitch sessions and marketplaces. We suggest you consider these as basic elements that cannot be overlooked while preparing a pitch. If you are sure whether your pitch is complete or strong enough, test it by using the following guiding questions. What is the problem that the project aims to address? What is the current status of the project? What type of support is needed? What are the expected climate, economic, and social impacts? Who are the partners and stakeholders involved? What are the financial indicators and opportunities for investors? Now, let's recap what we've learned in this unit. To present a project and fundraise for it, the promoter must be well prepared, have a solid project concept, and should already have engaged all the stakeholders involved in the project. Since fundraising and project pitching aim to acquire the capital for project implementation, you should clearly define and know the calculations, estimations, and strategies to follow. Depending on its setting, project pitching may serve various goals. Yet, all financial and technical facts must be updated and the final message to the audience must be crystal clear. Each fundraising or pitching effort will offer you feedback and experience that may further strengthen the project concept. Congratulations on completing the course Access to Urban Climate Finance. On behalf of the Urban Shift team, we hope you have enjoyed each of the units and gained knowledge about climate project development. We wish you successful access to climate finance. We invite you to review the reading materials and complete the last quiz to test what you have learned in the course.